Hello and welcome to Powell Software's Welcome to the New Normal podcast. Powell Software develops digital workplace solutions that improve the employee experience, helping companies write their own future of work by leveraging the talent of their entire workforce. My name is Tony Todd. I'm from the Rumeur Publique agency in Paris. And in this series, I've been speaking with business leaders, thinkers, visionaries. We've been exploring the megatrends, the ecosystems, the technology, shaping the way we live and work as we emerge into the new normal. Now, today we are talking about young people, specifically their challenges as they get onto the career ladder and their expectations for their future employers. And my guest today is Jasmine Mallet. Hello, Jasmine.
Hello, Tony. Lovely to be here.
Thanks very much. And Jasmine is the founder of Youth Forever, an NGO that aims to mobilize companies to meet the expectations of young people starting in their career. Now, she set up a podcast called Vocation while she was still at school. So few people are as tuned in as she is to the challenges of the next generation of employees and the future leaders. And some of what she has to say may surprise you. Now, Jasmine, a lot has changed, a lot happened in the last 2 years over the pandemic. What are the challenges that have emerged for you, for young people during this incredibly intense 2 years as they look ahead in their careers?
Well, first of all, maybe a quick definition of what I mean by young people. I usually focus on Generation Z, the one born between 1997 and 2010, just for a quick definition so we know what we're talking about. Concerning the pandemic, and I want to say the challenges I'm going to share with you were already there for the most part,
Sure.
but amplified and catalyzed with the pandemic. So they face a triple distress, financial, academical, and psychological. So if I go into each and every one of them, financial, it's basically a generation that didn't find jobs or that lost their jobs. I think 1 in 6 young people lost their jobs in France in the summer 2020, and basically not being able to make ends meet. So they're really in a fragile and maybe the poorest generation ever. Then there's the school academical aspect. Well, obviously the pandemic, with us being at home, stopped our learning curve. It's both at school, but also at work, as you were learning, interacting with your colleagues, and then everything stopped and you're at home. And in France, it means I think it's almost 8 out of 10 students that dropped out of school during the pandemic. So it's huge. And psychologically, well, it's basically they are a fragile generation. They're really anxious about the future. They have a lot of suicidal thoughts, and it's been amplified and really it exploded with the pandemic. So these challenges are all really difficult, but and the more difficult as they face tremendous challenges for tomorrow. I'm just talking about the political and environmental climate that we live in today. So they feel an urgency to act, but cannot really do it because they don't have the basics, the foundation to start their lives. So the pandemic has only questioned their potential of impact in a much larger context of huge challenges to come. So it's just about short-term and long-term, and I think that's really what we have to focus on today.
I'm not from Generation Z. I'm probably a late Generation Xer, so quite a few of those challenges come as a surprise to me, Jasmine. Now, if we think about what companies should do, or what young people expect from companies that are going to employ them, perhaps those companies are going to be surprised as well. I mean, what should companies be doing? What do young people expect from companies as they start applying for jobs?
So basically, they expect 3 things, I think, if I have to summarize into 3 topics. I would say security, learning, and interactions. So if I deep dive into each of these topics, basically security is what I said. So they both are financial and psychological psychologically, fragile. So they need this stability, something that you can rely on, something that they don't have to question, to kind of put together the foundations of their lives, of their independent adult life. So, and if we pull this thread a bit further, it's more than security. It's a sense of meaning, a sense of belonging. It's having an impact on the topics that you hold dear to you. So once you have this security, you can kind of look into the other aspects of work and what you expect from companies. So that's why I'm talking about learning. And it goes with the challenge that we talked about just before. You're expecting companies to train you for the challenges to come, to give you the skill sets to be able to be good leaders, good managers, good adults, basically. So companies kind of become schools in a continuous learning process. And then, of course, it's interactions. I think it's the Harvard Business Review that revealed that team spirits is the first lever of retention for this young generation, because it's completely true. Companies are the only place, one of the only places where you can interact with people different from you, with people from other generations, with other skill sets, from other backgrounds. This is what you want to look for, something that you haven't been able to do in school, in society in general. So you go to work to meet other people and to feel this sense of belonging. I think that's all in all what they expect from company. And of course, in the context, it's also hybrid and freedom and trust that they really expect from them.
Very illuminating information that you're giving here, Jasmine. I mean, I started out on my career path just over 20 years ago when the expectation was, get in, work hard, try to fit in, earn your money, and, try to do a good job. But there's so much more than that for young people these days. The fact that you say that it's an extension of school is quite an eye-opener, which means that, I guess, employers, a lot of whom are going to be the same age as me, Generation Xers who've got 15, 20 years of experience under their belt, they have to adopt a new mindset. Now, what should that mindset be? How should companies react to these expectations that you're talking about?
Well, first, I'd like to give you this sentence, this thing that the World Economic Forum said and highlighted, that this period between school and work is the most critical period in our careers. It shapes the rest of our careers, and well, I think it does anyway. And so there's a huge responsibility to take care, to enable and to impact this generation. That's how I kind of organize my thoughts on how companies should react. So I would say care, enable, and impact. And if I explain to you what I mean, basically care is giving jobs. It's almost doing positive discrimination for people with blanks in their resumes as they have not found jobs in the last 2 years. It's taking care of them as well as human beings, helping them grow in confidence, learning to speak in public. It's all these basic skills that you need to be able to get up in the morning and go to work and be brilliant at it. So it's basically allowing to be a space. Work is a space where you're allowed to say what you mean and you're allowed to ask for help in a time where the frontier between your personal life and your professional life is completely gone. So if you need this help, this maybe some time off and some of these necessary qualities, you can be able to ask for them. And outside of the company, it's also how can I address the people facing similar challenges? And then once you have this caring for, that's really important at the basics of everything, you can start to look more into the long term, what's a company's responsibility in the long run. So that's why I say enable. Basically, enabling is sharing skills, sharing knowledge, it's training, it's the school that we were talking about. It's helping them understand jobs, skills, and reinventing them as you grow in the company. Training for the future, but also training for more sustainable performance, to change business models, for new career paths, and then creating these interaction with people in power, to the managers, to the leaders of companies, and creating this interaction. And then impact, it's basically in a world where we have to transform ourselves in terms of companies, so in terms of the digital, environmental, there's so many challenges for companies to stay up to date and to stay relevant. They need to adapt. And youth is an army. I use this word with intention, but it's an army that does and that can lead this change at the condition that they are trained to do so, that they have the right skill set, the right confidence, the right trust to do it. And so it's how they can be drivers of change, because the topics that are dear to them, so just namely diversity, inclusion, climate change, and so many others, they can lead the way to pave for this transformation. So that's how I would organize, I think, how companies should react. And it's actually what we do with the NGO we started. How can we organize this caring, enabling, impacting for this new generation?
Fantastic. I mean, what you're describing to me sounds very much like a family, that a company should be more like a family that should nurture its young people. And one of the things that you just said made me think a little bit, you know, if we take that family analogy, that you mentioned digital, and that, you know, youth is an army to lead change. Now, I know that in my family, the older generation struggles a little bit with understanding our digital reality that is now. And it's the grandchildren or the children that are showing their parents how to use social media, how to use the internet, etc. What do young people... I mean, it's not just about what young people expect from companies and what companies can do for them. Young people have a new approach to digital tools, the internet, and how it can be used. They've got a lot to bring to the party as well, haven't they?
Completely. And that's something that's been really even set in motion in companies with reverse mentoring, where young people kind of mentor leaders or managers to teach them about digital tools. Although they are not formed onto professional tools, that's an important distinction, I think, because they know how to use TikTok and Instagram, but maybe not Teams that they haven't even used before. So let's maybe not put into digital all the tools that we know about, but completely and hybrid, and the way we work with digital tools has completely changed their relationship to work. And they love it, they need it, they demand this flexibility that digital tools can offer. But at the same time, that it's not they can't have 100% digital. They need interactions. That's what I've said before, because less interactions means more stress, more anxiety, less learning, more. And so they need hybrid, they need digital, but with humans, and not 100% work from home. That's a very bad idea, I think. And just as we're going back to work, we've seen that a lot of the people that are going back to work are usually the young generation. And it's easy to understand that they don't have a family at home, they don't have the same comforts, but also they are looking for this extra humane interaction that companies can bring. And just to finish, this analogy with family is really interesting, because it's something that studies have showed. I don't know if you've read The Divide by Frédéric Dabi in France. It shows that their first priority is family. And that's all because during the pandemic, they have been at home. They've been with their parents, grandparents maybe. They've seen the impact of such a crisis on family ties. And so it's become one of their priorities as a large family, not only their close family, their friends. And that's how they see the company, their colleagues and friends now. So you can't really kind of forget this convergence of professional and personal sphere that are the same to them.
Jasmine, thank you so much for these insights. It's been really, really interesting. Now, you can find out more about what Jasmine is doing with Youth Forever in the link underneath this video. And we'll also include a link for her podcast, Vocation. That's just in French, is it, Jasmine?
It is. It is.
Okay, so if you're a French speaker, listen to Vocation. If you're an English speaker, Youth Forever, the site is in English. There's some really interesting things going on, some really interesting work. And as Jasmine has explained to us, it's all really important. Companies need to understand the challenges, the anxieties, the ambition of young people, and how to really foster and nurture them. Jasmine, thank you so much for spending the time talking to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in to Welcome to the New Normal. It's been a real pleasure doing this series, and we look forward to seeing you again sometime in the future. The whole series is available on Power Software's website and, of course, on LinkedIn and Twitter. Do look us up, do follow us. Thank you very much indeed.